Great. Well, everybody, welcome to our rendezvous design panel. Today we are focused on workplace and commercial space. Want to start out by thanking Neolith for putting this together. I think it's a great initiative. I think it's a great thing to be a part of. And it's a really interesting conversation right now, being that, COVID really obviously is affecting everyone. Specifically is going to affect the way we interact with our spaces as much as we're going to interact with people. So with that, I don't want to belabor the intro. I want to get everybody to say hello and give a little introduction themselves. So Barry, why don't we start with you? Give us a hello and your firm and what it is that you do.
Hi, I'm Barry Goralnik, and my firm is Goralnik Architecture Design Studio, and we do both commercial and residential work. I do the architecture, interiors, and I design for 8 different product lines like Curry & Company, Furniture and Lighting, Vanguard. And as part of this conversation, I've designed 2 collections that are going to market next year. One is a plumbing collection for Watermark and a new carpet collection for Aronson Flooring. And we managed to crank out most of that during lockdown. So that's been pretty amazing.
Wow. Very, very cool. Nice to meet you and thanks for being here. Katie, you're up next.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Katie Dasgupta. I am an associate principal with TDS Design. We are a multidisciplinary architecture and interior design firm located in Atlanta, Georgia. I work in the workplace studio. It's one of our vertical market segments. And we focus on corporate design from small to large. We have been working with a lot of clients over the last number of years. We're a 50-year-old firm and work with everything from people moving into their first office to people taking over or developing and building multi-building campuses.
Very cool. Okay, next, Gregory.
Gregory Hitchcock. The firm is Gregory Hitchcock Design. I've been focused for 20 years primarily on kitchen design, kitchens, bathrooms, primarily. I work a lot with Italian suppliers, Italian manufacturers. So I do the design work, but I'm also a product guy. And I have done more commercial in the last couple of years than I've done in the prior 15 years. I worked with some large, from banks and New York, doing millwork for their cafes and pantries for their office spaces. So it's been interesting. It's not my primary focus, but that's why I was thrown into this. I think it's really interesting, and I think it's gonna change home offices in the home and offices in the office.
So. Big time. Very create some Italian kitchen products because I do a bunch of that myself.
Excellent.
I'm sitting in home office, so very, very curious to hear what you have to say there. Tanya, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Tanya Kerner, and I am the design director for Nelson Worldwide in Alpharetta, Georgia. And I've been practicing for a little over 25 years. And we hit a lot of different vertical market sectors within our company. And as in my role, I get to touch a lot of those. Workplace is probably my primary, and we're a multidisciplined firm. We have architecture, interior design, branding and graphics, and engineering. So we help our clients. Some of them have been our clients for 40 years. We're really proud of our relationships that we build with our clients. And so we get to know their inner workings very intimately when we consider their real estate positioning and how we can best help them. I'm glad to be here.
Nice to meet you as well. And last but certainly not least, Stephen.
Hello everyone. Stephen Wells. I am with Hendrick. We are a strictly interior design firm across multiple market segments. Our primary markets are corporate office and healthcare and product design as well. 20 years for myself plus in the industry, and excited to hear what everyone's got to say today, for sure.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, great to meet all of you. And just, right from the outset, I just want to thank all of you for doing this, because it forced me to dress appropriately today. So really
Just don't
nice to
stand
put
up.
on, really nice to and comb my hair with a reason. I do love my home office,
T-shirt today.
but all too often you wind up with sweatpants and an undershirt on, just cranking out work. So really nice to get dressed for this. And kind of, to that end, all joking aside, we can start off with working remotely. Who is, who isn't? Maybe just, run through, how each of you personally are working, and how your firm at large is working at this point. Yeah, I mean, really anybody can start. I guess, Katie, I'm looking at your name. I'll start with you so we don't all talk over each other on our virtual room here.
Yeah, so our firm is about 180 people, and we are working from home, and actually started working from home before the government did the shelter in place. We kind of saw the writing on the wall in early March, and our leadership said, let's go home and test our network and make sure that it has the capacity for 180 people to be all working virtually. Our firm had already had a fairly flexible workplace policy, so people were working from home about 1 day a week, but we weren't sure about the capacity. We went home on a Monday, and we still haven't come back. We have reopened our offices for internal use. If teams or employees need to work, but it's still only for employees. It's not for visitors. It's not for guests. We're not letting reps in. But it actually was a fairly smooth transition for us. Some of the preliminary steps that we had taken in the past year to really bring our digital platform up, making sure that all of our employees had the technology to work from anywhere and work productively from anywhere.
Katie, if I can jump in as you're saying that, so I mean, and look, I'm a one-man band. My design software is on this computer. So you say that the biggest challenge that or biggest thing you guys were nervous about was the bandwidth in your internal network to be able to handle massive design files and large CAD, stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're working in Revit, and so most of our models are cloud-based, which has really helped the transition. So we're not all coming back into a central server that's located in downtown Atlanta. But we weren't sure, with having 180 people using the VPN, the internet, accessing these files that are saved on our central server. It's all about, for what we've learned is, it's all about the connection that each individual has at their home. So if they had good connectivity speed at their house, it was like almost as good as working in the office. In fact, we've done some surveys and some self-reporting and self-analysis, and we found that more than 60% of our employees believe more than 60% of our work can be done at home better than it can be done in the office.
Very, very cool. Anybody else have an experience, good, bad, and different that they want to toss in as comments? Go ahead, Barry.
I have a small office, so I've been able to come into the office sometimes, but everyone else is working virtually. And it's gone really pretty well. I started a project in January, a residential project. Starting in March, we were able to hire a mechanical engineer, a lighting designer, the AV consultant, the expediter, and the contractor. And sharing documents and sharing Zoom calls. And I mean, I miss the human interaction, and especially when you're designing and sitting at a desk together. But there's a lot of things that I've learned that I think I will continue to do. The world turns back on its axis. I don't know.
Sure. So just briefly before this call started, you were saying we get to act as psychologists to a certain degree, and I was laughing and very much agreeing with you. You know, that figuring out what your clients are saying without them knowing what they're saying from a design standpoint, or act with the space. Do you find that did you have the same level of intuition through the camera on the Zoom screen or the Zoom room that you do when you're with them in the same room?
I think there's an artificial element to it. It is harder because there's a lag, there's a pacing question. But in general, we've been able to get our concepts across, and I think in some ways people are more apt to agree to things because, you know, they're just back and forth. I don't know if everyone else feels that way.
Because they're tired of all the Zoom calls and they just want to get it done.
They want to just get to their Zoom with cocktails call.
Happy hour.
Hey guys, I wanted to pop in and just say hello. It sounds like you guys are off to a great start, as I suspected. Barry, how you doing? Greg, nice to see you.
Hey, James.
I haven't met the others, but I look forward. Anthony, how you doing? Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I have fun with this. We really appreciate it. This is very helpful for end users and also others in the industry. But hopefully you're all staying safe and healthy. But I look forward to meeting those that I have not met before.
Good to see you.
You too, Barry. You too.
See you.
But have some fun, and hopefully we'll get to travel into Manhattan for some dinner soon, and we'll see how that goes.
That'd be good.
Yeah. At least drink soon, James. Soon.
Thanks, yeah, whatever.
Bars are open.
Thank you. I haven't met you, and I'm not seeing a name on the other screen for some reason. Who else is joining us here? But thank you guys all. I appreciate it. I don't want to interrupt any more than I have already. But you guys are in good hands. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys all soon.
My pleasure.
Bye bye.
Anybody else with an interesting kind of work from home scenario that differs from kind of the norm of what we're all kind of dealing with?
Well, we actually are doing a hybrid right now. So we went remote back about the same time that you guys went, Katie, around the middle of March, roughly. And remained remote up until the beginning of this month, until right after the 4th of July. And we have integrated back into the office for part-time. So we are in the office 2 days a week, remote 3 days a week, and we are in shifts. So we have sort of like two different teams. We have an A team and an B team in order to maintain distance within the open office environment for our employees. And so we alternate weeks between team A and team B. The principals of the firm, such as myself, we're here both days every week. So we're always in the office when the staff is.
So Stephen, kind of two questions to go along with that. So one, that you have the people set up into two teams. I'm assuming that you guys, whoever's in the office together, are working on projects that would be as a team, so that they have a bit of interaction. And what are you finding is either the benefit or not so much of a benefit of actually coming into the office?
Unfortunately, it's not a perfect structure like that, because our teams are structured in a way that, you know, some are on teams with folks that are on the B team, and some are on teams with those on the A, and some are on both. We weren't able to work it out in a perfect world like that. However, I would have loved it to have been like that. So we do still have some people working and operating remotely, even when their other team members are here in the office. So we still maintain Zoom meetings and design charrettes, strategy processes and things like that, utilizing Zoom, but the team members that are within the office environment are able to go into some of the larger conference rooms collectively and be together in that scenario, while other team members may be remote.
Got it. And you're finding that's a big, it's a benefit that the employees themselves want that?
It is, yes, because one, we're starting to get some of that human interaction that we've all been desiring to have. Specifically, I would say probably over the last 6 weeks, as the remote working has, even though been very effective, people have missed the collaboration face to face. Decision-making process has been pretty, we've been able to see that we're able to do it faster if we're in person, especially if we're reviewing physical elements such as materials, things like that.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and even for those that may be operating remotely, those that are here in person collectively can kind of discuss things and even start to share that information for those that are remotely in a way in which it helps them grasp what we're doing collectively. So that we can even expedite those decisions as well.
That makes a lot of sense. That touch and feel, we don't really have the scratch and sniff screens yet, so it's not quite working. So I'm sure we all have individual experiences with this, and this is a great jumping off point. So I kind of want to pivot now. I mean, we're really talking about workspace, commercial, restaurants from a design perspective. So, a lot of offices today are open concept, along with, I think open concept is everybody's favorite word, period, in design. So with that being the case, how do we, maybe Tanya, you can start with this one. Do we see this changing? Do we see more partitions, more dividers going kind of the opposite direction that we've been moving in for such a long time?
Well, at Nelson, we have a specialized group called Spark that's space planning and assessment in response to COVID. And so since we're 28 offices, we have a concentration of experts that talk around this. And in the beginning of the pandemic, we were helping our large clients figure out social distancing, how we can do one-way aisles in those open spaces. And I'm sure that Katie and Stephen have done the same. But as of late, just in the past couple of weeks, there seems to be a realization that it's going okay at home. And our clients are starting to see, just like us, we're 28 offices, and we've had to create new project teams. And it no longer matters whether we're in Atlanta, Alpharetta, or in our San Francisco office, our New York office, our Boston office. And so our 1,100 employees have come together, and we're seeing that with our clients as well. And our clients have shifted their focus. They've got the basics down. We've helped them with the return to work. And now I think they're looking beyond that to say, what is our new office going to be like for the next 20 years? Sure. Creating a destination and creating a hospitality feel, something warm that offers you a reason to come to work, something that you cannot do at home. And so I think I think a lot of our clients, we're working with them to do more of a conferencing center and to meet those needs that you just can't experience at home.
Sure. Do you feel like some of these bigger offices are going to go to smaller offices and maybe more of them spread out as opposed to a massive footprint with one building or a floor?
I think that you're going to have a melding of functions within that open office environment that allows workstations, allows benches to be dispersed through a larger environment versus work is over here and collaboration is in this zone. It's going to be where it was going to begin with. This is just a catalyst. It's what I see. Do you agree, Stephen?
I do. I definitely agree. I think your point of creating an office environment that is going to give reason for people to come in is going to be what we're really going to see come to the surface here. And I think that it's going to be a combination of elements that we're going to have to kind of design around. And that is probably going to be different for different companies and different organizations as to what those needs will end up being. And that'll be the fun part of our job, is to help figure all of that out.
Yeah, well, like for example, I mean, your point of having to touch and feel materials, like that's the design firm's necessity to be in the office, to touch and feel things. Yeah, there's a million reasons for a million industries. Sorry, Katie, were you starting to say something?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was. I heard a voice. I don't know.
I think Tanya was starting. I wanted to jump
go ahead,
in and
Tanya.
add to it, but go ahead, Tanya.
No, go ahead, Katie.
Okay. We're finding something very similar, is what Stephen and Tanya were saying, is that the need to come into the office is very specific to the industry. We've been doing a lot of kind of testing on ourselves. One of the big things when we went into this, Tanya, I really like your cool Spark name for your team. We're just the people that meet on Mondays. But I got to get a little abbreviation there. But we've been talking about, nobody, well, there are pandemic response experts, but I don't think that there's a lot of designers that have been focusing on pandemic response design. So we're all coming to this kind of fresh and new and learning. We've kind of said we don't really have this package of how to design for it. So we've been taking our own chance to look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves almost as a client of what works for us. And what we've learned is that, like Stephen was talking about, there are specific activities that our design firm, our company, needs the physical space for. Materials is a huge thing. Mentoring and collaboration between our young designers and our more senior staff is really something that we've tried to make happen as much possible and create in this virtual environment. But there's no replacement for that physical connection. And so we're seeing, and we're talking to our clients about identifying what activities or what tasks need a physical space to be done, and which activities and tasks within their company for their employees could be done more virtually as efficiently, therefore prioritizing the spaces in their current office as they're coming back in and maybe repositioning and reopening, but also clients that are looking at, hey, our lease is up in the next 18 to 24 to 36 months. We really don't have a magic 8-ball of what's happening, but we can talk about designing for their workflow and what needs to happen in person.
Anybody? Tanya, did you have another thought that you wanted to share there? I think I cut you off accidentally.
Oh, no worries. Just two quick ads. I completely agree with Katie. And we are being our own lab rats. And one of the things that we're doing is, over 1,000 employees, we've been surveying ourselves each month to see how it's going and what are you needing? What do you need for support? And a couple of really, yes, it's more of an effort, as Barry was saying. You've got to do that presentation. You've got to ship samples to somebody to review so they can touch and feel them. And sometimes it's kind of the Brady Bunch that you've got going on your screen. You're talking around, but we're in it together, and our clients are in the same position. So we found a lot of grace that people have with one another. And for me, I've always been a very tactile person. I talk with my hands, and for me personally, I'm fine with the screen now. I'm not